race fans, it's about that time of year where the Formula One season is about to get very interesting because you got three unique tracks that are about to come up before the summer break. This weekend, they will head out to the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and then the following week they will be off before, and after that they will head out to France and end things out in Hungary for the month of July, but also the last race to August 28th. A long time, 4 weeks. And these teams right here, and drivers such as Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, and Carlos Sainz want to be on their best game for the rest of this month, because if they're not, they can come back after the summer break as a clear number 2 driver, or a driver that has to simply make up a lot of ground to be in the championship hunt, which is something that's not ideal, and you do not want that to happen. And right now, Ferrari and Red Bull have some tough decisions to make. There's no way that both teams are going to let both of their drivers go for the title, because that's going to be taking away points from one another. So eventually, I'm sure the summer break is going to be the time where they're going to decide who is the number 1 driver, who's the number 2 driver. Red Bull right now is kind of clear, but Verstappen's their lead guy. But Ferrari right now, things are unclear. Carlos Sainz got his first win at the British Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc is struggling. And today I'm here to give y'all my full predictions of Austria and my full predictions of how things will play out as the number 1 driver and the number 2 driver for Ferrari. So kick back and relax and enjoy, but let's get started.
Hey, it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here at Kroger, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
This weekend, the Formula One World Championship Series is going to head out to the Red Bull Ring out in Austria. And this time around, I think the Red Bulls are going to be the fastest car by some margin. Red Bull is very quick on the straightaways, and in Austria you have 3 long straightaways, and they're going to be pretty favored here. And saying that, I believe Max Verstappen will get the nod over Sergio Perez as it comes to the race results, as Verstappen will win this Grand Prix and his teammate Sergio Perez will come home in 2nd place. 3rd place, however, is going to be young Carlos Sainz, a driver that is coming off his first career win in the Formula One series. Carlos Sainz has been in Formula One for many years now. He started out with Toro Rosso, and then went to Renault, and went to McLaren, and now he finds himself with Ferrari. 2020 was a good year with McLaren, and once he went to Ferrari, he was looking like to be one of their top drivers going in for podiums. They were not going for wins last year, to be honest with you. They were aiming for podiums, and Carlos Sainz got the job done and led the team at podiums. And this year, he expected the same thing from him, but he's kind of struggled. And after he won in Britain, I believe his confidence is going to be way through the roof. And he will finish P3 here. And not to mention, Carlos Sainz has been kind of under the radar ever since Monaco. I'll say that. Monaco, runner-up to Sergio Perez. And then after that, they went to Baku, which he did not have a good race there. He had a mechanical DNF early on within the first 10 laps. So you really can't make an opinion about that. Then they went to Canada, runner-up, now Britain, 1st place. So the last 3 results where he's actually finished was 2-2-1. So Carlos Sainz may be on a roll here, and because he's only 11 points behind his teammate, Charles Leclerc, in the points. So if this were to happen, Ferrari will start thinking about who's number 1 and who's number 2. They still got 2 races after this to decide, but it's still never too early to think about it. P4 is going to be the 44 car of Mercedes-Benz driver Lewis Hamilton. This past weekend, the Hamilton fans showed up and showed out at the British Grand Prix. They were everywhere. And every so often, Lewis Hamilton will have a special cap for a special event they're at. And this is like an Austin hat from many years ago. But this past weekend was a neon yellow hat at the British Grand Prix. And those hats were everywhere. And they were obviously Lewis Hamilton fans. So you know who was supporting who. And let me tell you, Hamilton fans showed up. That's all I got to say. And that gave him a good confidence boost, and he finished P3 on the podium. I'm sure he was frustrated about the result because his car was a lot quicker than P3. But you know what? It's a podium. This is something Mercedes has had a hard time getting throughout the season so far. And there you go. P3 for Hamilton in the British Grand Prix. Now we'll finish P4 out in the Austrian Grand Prix this Sunday. Rounding out my top 5 here will be young Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. Charles Leclerc has only finished on the podium one time in the last 7 races, and I think the streak is going to continue. It's going to be 1 for 8 after Austria. I think he's so far behind when it comes to confidence and building up confidence against Carlos Sainz. He's just going to be way off the pace. The Red Bull cars are going to be quick, so you obviously are looking at P3 as one of the highs for Leclerc this weekend. And I think Lewis Hamilton will have a say-so about P4. So that's why I think Charles Leclerc will finish P number 5. But my dark horse here this weekend in Austria will have to be the young driver of George Russell. George Russell this past weekend DNF'd in his home Grand Prix, in the British Grand Prix. And it was for a very unique reason. On lap number 1, going down into turn 1, George Russell was on the hard compound, while his peer drivers were on medium and soft compound tires. Russell did not get a start. Pierre Gasly kind of made a little nudge on George Russell's left rear tire, which eventually turned him into the Alfa Romeo of Zhou Guanyu, which sent him barrel rolling into the gravel and eventually getting up into the air and over the tire barriers, between the tire barriers and the catch fence. He was trapped in his car for well over 10 minutes. Luckily, he got out. But when that wreck happened and when Zhou Guanyu flipped over the fence, or tire barrier, George Russell stopped his car because red flag was out and went to check Zhou Guanyu out and seeing if he was all right. What George Russell did not know was if you get out the car and they put it on the board, you're done. There's no continuing on, and George Russell did make a fair case at the end before they restarted that he was checking for the safety of Zhou Guanyu. And I'm sure that would be a discussion to have with the FIA and Mercedes, because I feel like George Russell could have continued on. All he needed was a new set of tires and a new front wing, which is something Mercedes did have in the garage. So he could have continued on. He decided to check on the peer driver. Luckily, he was all right. But that was a very unique reason why George Russell did not finish the British Grand Prix. But yeah, going to Austria, he might not win, but he can still be in contention for a podium spot, which is never too high up for George Russell, as he just had his first finish outside the top 5 this year, this past weekend at Britain. It's going to be a heartbreaker, but you know what? He'll continue on. He'll do great things. But there you go. There's my top 5. Max Verstappen winning. Sergio Perez second. Third will be Carlos Sainz. Fourth will be Lewis Hamilton. And fifth will be Charles Leclerc. And my dark horse will be George Russell. But everybody, though, remember to please like and subscribe and comment down below your opinions about this past weekend's exciting Grand Prix out in Silverstone. Do you like the result? Do you think the FIA messed up in some calls here and there? And some beef is going on between the AlphaTauri drivers. So I want to stay tuned to that one. So please like and subscribe.